ushering.
There we are.
Efficiency and so on.
Good morning, everybody. Twas in another lifetime, one of toil and blood, when blackness was a virtue, the road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature void of form. The Lynch said, I'll give you shelter from the sun. I think today I'd like to welcome you all to the conference in what has been a very difficult morning for some. We've had a number of cancellations because of the storm, and I think we'll provide a nice, warm, snug place for us all to be for the day and hopefully enjoy ourselves very much. So very much welcome to the UKA's annual conference, Build to Rent. Our theme this year is the transformational value of investing in homes and communities. Really what we're trying to do with this narrative is look at not just the investment case for Build to Rent, but the social value case. And in reality, we need to address and attend to both of these things in both the actions that we take and the narratives that we develop around us. But before we get going into all of that, some housekeeping. There's going to be no alarm drills for fire. So if the fire alarm goes in, it actually is a fire. There are a number of exits from this room and from the floor. We are occupying the entire floor today. They're shown in green on this diagram here, and will be very clearly marked. So if there's any issues, it's because it's real rather than a drill. We start all of these things with the people who are supporting us in the UKAA and in not just at a corporate level, but with the events that we put on. And it's really important that we recognize and acknowledge the important role that our sponsors have, not just in supporting the organization, but providing guidance, providing some mentorship, just providing help and support to all the things that we get up to in the UKAA. There are a number of partners as well who offer strategic support and access to their networks and their channels of communication, etc. And of course some which we have very, very strong relationships with and will continue to do so. Our headline sponsor, very important for us to have one for the conference, Build Zone this year. We're very, very pleased to welcome them into the Build to Rent space. The event itself also has additional sponsors, and you'll see their names dotted around and on the displays, the video displays and other parts of the setup today. So again, very, very important to get involved with our events and of course get some profile from this. This of course is as much a kind of a conference about inspiring and educating, but also about networking and for the community to come together and look to drum up business, which is very important. We have a bunch of exhibitors out there. It's a full show this year. The names are there, and they all have something to offer to Build to Rent, whether it be over supply or an advice or strategic level. There's such a plethora of dynamics and activity in the Build to Rent ecosystem, and it's only going to grow and grow. So we do need to look after our supply chain and those who serve us in this industry as the industry develops and matures. We have a charity which will only really become relevant at the end of the day during the awards ceremony, but it is St. Mungo's, which many of you will be familiar, and if you see them wandering around, please say hi. Wi-Fi, if you haven't picked it up, is there, and will make life a lot easier. We're not doing anything like Slido, so you won't need to connect to any of that sort of thing. We have a conference app, or really it's a conference website, and if you scan the QR code, you'll be able to pick up the access to that site. And just for housekeeping, there's four venues rather, where we are having the breakout sessions in the afternoon. The morning sessions are all going to be in here, but the breakout sessions will be either in here. There's there's two rooms to the left, which I can't read at the moment, but and another room further down there. But those of you who've been here before will know where to go, and of course there will be the staff to direct you, but just to give you some indication of where all of these spaces are. So what can we expect from today's agenda, from today's session? Well, we certainly have a rich proposition of talks or presentations, really covering a huge range of topics. And what's important to stress here is that the UK, it's not the job of the UKA to come up with the agenda. It's a job of the sector, of our members, to come up with the agenda. It's our job then to take those ideas and turn them into something which is deliverable at conference. And that's exactly what we've done. So one of the things that emerged as we moved through this process is that we wanted to move away from just being a talk shop, and we wanted to become a place of action. That one of the deliverables of this conference is that we will take away things that we will work on for the year ahead. So I've asked every single session today to come up with 3 action points for the UKA to take on for the year, for the next year and the years ahead, so that our agenda and our activity is defined by our members and those who participate in our industry. And so please make sure that you whatever sessions you do go to, that they come up with the three action points at the end of them. So we start the morning with a series of keynote speeches. We've got policy, we've got emerging trends, we've got a really important presentation from the building safety regulator. We have a whole host of report backs from important initiatives that we set up in the last year from the UKA itself, whole life costing, data sharing, education, and a number of other things. It's important for us all to understand what's been going on and what progress has been made at the behest of our members. And in the afternoon, well, really, it's a real buffet of choice here. You can really spread yourself around and see what is going to be interesting and appealing to you. Everything from AI to the view from overseas to technical issues around delivery in construction and development, social value. There's a heap of stuff. So it's all on the app that we presented just now. Have a look and get yourselves to these sessions. They will all be recorded, so they'll be on the website as part of the best practice guide after the session. And just on the best practice guide, it continues to have additional material added to it. It's now at about 130 submissions. A lot of them are video submissions. I think as since this time last year, the quality of the work that we've been doing on our webinars and educational pieces has increased dramatically. Please share what's going on today on the usual channels, Twitter, /X, and LinkedIn. It's always good to see people providing opinions and hopefully saying what a great day it's going to be or is being. But also we need to look at some of the successes and updates from the UKA itself. There's been some stormy weather out there. There's been some choppy seas, a little bit of calm seas occasionally, and perhaps a few big waves, certainly on the macroeconomic side of things with interest rates and everything else. But we've weathered the storm, and the predictions from those who know are that next year should be calmer waters. So we very much look forward to that. Just to give you a sense of the things that we have been looking on, our whole life costing thing is an industry first. It's really looking at this important matter. There'll be a report back. The short stay accommodation, short lets, we think is going to be a major part of the industry going forward. We're working very hard to remove barriers for that to take place. There's a session on that today. We've set up various working groups on equality, diversity, and inclusion, selective licensing, which is a major issue for the industry for the sector at the moment. We've worked very hard in Birmingham. We've set up a working group to provide a war chest of resources for members, and we're currently looking at one in specific issues in Southwark. I mentioned data sharing, and we've also made a huge amount of effort to close the gap between build to rent and house builders. We see them as a huge part of our future. There are differences between us and them, particularly between investors and the house builders and how they might get into contract, if you like. And we're working very closely with them to break those down. So a lot of activity going on in these areas. We've also expanded our national reach with the creation of the London and Southeast Hub, and the almost birthing of the Northeast Hub, which has just been slightly delayed, but we're sure when the baby finally comes along, it will be fine and well. A big piece of work that we're doing is the creation of a code of practice for the industry, and this is really about setting out what conduct can be expected of all of us at every stage of the game. So it's really important that we have this as a foundation piece, because it will influence the lobbying that we may do to government and to policymakers. It will influence the conversations that we have with local authorities. It will be very, very important very important to the very important to the planning process and our negotiations with planners to unlock the first value gateway in development terms with planning, that we can present a code for how we will operate as an industry, as a sector, and live up to that. It's important to note that it's authored by the members. It's not authored by the UKAA. It's authored by the members. There's various consultations going on, and the idea will be, and also other bodies, and the idea will be that we will present this back to members and the industry more generally in the first quarter of next year. We are also going through a rebrand. We recognize that the UKAA, whilst it served us very, very well as a name and will continue to do so, it somewhat limits and perhaps restricts access to other parts of the rental economy that we think are legitimately form part of the build-to-rent space. So obviously suburban build-to-rent being one of them, co-living, later living, affordable housing and other models of renting. We want to be able to be an organization that embraces all of these. And so there's a rebrand going on. Some of you have been involved in a consultation on this already. There will be others, and again, that will be presented to membership and the sector in Q1 next year. Sponsorship, I've already mentioned, it's really, really important, but so today to help you all, we have produced a document which is available on our stand and will be available to download on our sponsorship requirements for the entire year. So as the budgets come around at the beginning of the year, you have a sense of what we'll be looking for, and I'd ask you all to take a copy of that home and have a look and see what you can do. Save the date. Our AGM, which is a proper report back, is on the 6th of December. It will be online, and all members are invited, so please do attend if you can. And now I think we move on to the conference proper. So just to reiterate, it's about actions, not words, or not just words. And so I'd like to invite the first of our keynote sessions up to the stand. Leslie Roberts, Adam Charles from JLL, Harry Swales, and James Saunders. If you'd come up, please.
Please.